All right, everyone, welcome to the Lesser Saints of Discord, your one and only pre-show to the Late Night Saints. Jables isn't here this week, so we're gonna completely fuck everything up just to make him feel bad.
Sounds like a plan.
And you do the intro anyway.
Well, you were taking too long.
I was waiting for the fucking transition screen, smartass.
Well, the transition screen had already passed, and the audio would have been like 6 weeks later if you had waited for it to pass. When I say you're unmuted, you count to like 3 and then you go.
Oh, so we're counting to 3 now.
Technically, when you're unmuted, you could start right away because I've already unmuted you. And we're already fucking shit up. Yeah!
I'm just saying, I would have done it better.
Oh, so it's this now.
I mean, just fucking look at you, Rimshee. Just... Do I really have to justify my point?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
If you couldn't tell, our window is very powerful this week, so.
So anyway, we have the furry boat captain.
We have what?
A weird furry boat captain. I'm not really like that big of a boat captain, but I am a furry. That's true. You can call me a furry. I don't know if boat captain is accurate.
Hey, Frap, I don't have to justify a fucking thing to you or anyone else.
Oh, you know what? Keep insulting him. It'll make the show more entertaining.
Insulting crab is its own form of sport at this point.
So I've been doing I've been doing a lot of work lately. How about you guys? Are you on the working part of life, or are you sheltered up at home with shelter in place?
My job was flagged as essential, so I never stopped working.
Yeah, I am the same way.
I am.
Rimshee got locked at home for a while, and he fucking hated it.
Oh god, yeah, it was horrible. And then I went back to work, and then they swapped me to another job site, which I'm hearing things through the grapevine that make me go, ooh, I wish I wasn't here.
Oh no. Oh no.
I'm not going to go in depth because, hey, I still like working. It's just one of those things where your normal person who cares about their health would be sitting there going, you know, I'm not sure this is the right place for me. Meanwhile, I'm going, you know, I'm probably going to be fine. Fuck it.
It's like, what's the possibility of death compared to a paycheck? I asked.
Well,
what are the chances I'm gonna die? Low? Okay. I've dealt with higher odds.
The thing that's got me is I have to fly for my job, and I have to travel through airports and all sorts of places like that. So it's like there's been no real respite or no real way to get around the whole COVID-19 thing. But at the same time, for me, it's just life as normal, except I have to wear a mask and wash my hands a lot more often than I used to, which is fine. You know, wearing a mask and washing your hands and not touching your face are all, things that make sense, and I follow and abide by those guidelines. But at the same time, I'm going like, this is ridiculous, and people aren't following these rules. And I'm not, a mask advocate or somebody who's totally afraid of COVID-19, obviously. same time, there are people around me who I want to protect, so I do.
Yeah. Ultimately, the mask is there to protect you, to protect the people around you from the disease getting, potentially leaving your body. It's not going to stop
Yeah.
you from getting sick.
Well, and are you
It's
guys familiar with the structure of the disease and what it actually is?
I don't know much. I don't know everything
Do
about it.
you know
I
what RNA
stopped
is?
paying attention.
You know what like DNA is, of course, right? The
Yeah.
double helix. So RNA is basically a single strand of DNA. So instead of being a double helix, it's like a single helix. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
So what the coronavirus is a single strand of RNA encased in a lipid. And a lipid, for people that don't know what a lipid is a fat. Now, that lipid protects the RNA until it is absorbed in one fashion or another, either by like mucous membranes or inhaled into your lungs or something along those lines. Now, when that that lipid or fat is dissolved by, say, a hand sanitizer or a dish soap or any kind of cleanser, basically, that RNA strand becomes very fragile and can literally just be destroyed by rubbing your hands together. So there's a little bit of info on what the COVID-19 thing actually is and how it works.
Well, the thing is,
Yeah.
like, RNA viruses are like the most primitive. It's not even really appropriate to call them life forms.
Yeah,
It's
they're
like
not necessarily life forms.
it's a
They're
weird thing where you can technically call it life, but technically you can't.
yeah, because it's not really.
It's like fire. It technically ticks all those boxes, but it's not alive.
Yeah,
It's like the main thing that, at least if I remember correctly, like one of the main things that separates like, viruses from like most other like quote unquote life on the planet is that viruses lack any type of metabolic process.
correct.
Like they are entirely reliant upon living
So
things in order to propagate. And they do that by basically reprogramming the host to create more of it.
hmm
Okay, let's not get too deep into this.
yeah,
Effectively,
sorry, I was
if you're wearing a mask, you're not protecting yourself. You're protecting those around you. Unless you have a mask that has that fucking exit valve, you're not
I
protecting
know that
anyone
is
with that
that.
thing.
Oh my goodness, the mask with the exit valve is the funniest thing ever. It totally defeats the purpose of having
It
a mask.
totally does. I see so many people walking around with those, and it's like, you know, and
It's
I've seen
obvious.
so many people trying to say, "Hey, don't if you're not wearing a mask, you're gonna die." No, if you're not wearing a mask, you have a higher potential to spread it. That's really what it does. That's all it is.
Yeah, exactly.
What I thought was
Wearing a
hilarious
mask. Go ahead.
is
Go ahead.
we had this guy who was coming into my store. Like every day he came in, he was wearing a fucking nose mask, which is fucking hysterical because like you can't understand a fucking word he's saying. Anyway, that was just a side note.
I go military issue gas mask, because then I'm protecting myself. And like those masks with the one way valve, it too has a one way valve, but it also has a voice diaphragm, so you sound like Darth Vader.
Honestly, part of me wants to get an M50 gas mask.
Protect yourself and scare your neighbors.
Like
With CBN cams on it.
I don't think I would need an M90 an M50 gas mask, but I fucking want one. Not for any better reason than I fucking want one. That's it.
It's okay. It's okay to want things.
it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, this is what I used when I was active duty, so it's what I'm used to. I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to shave for it, but I mean, if it came down to it, if I thought that was a possibility of actually needing it, I'd fucking shave.
It'll be a cold day in hell before I shave.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
I love not
it's
having to
my
shave.
way.
That's what I love.
Yeah. Like I'll trim, like I'll get like a pair of like shears and like trim the parts that I don't want to be so long down.
Yeah.
But if I have my way, I will never be clean shaven.
I'm totally going for the Uncle Iroh,
Ah,
if you know what that is.
yep, I do indeed. Rimshee, I can't speak for though.
Oh no, I know exactly what that was. Miss Rimshee had never seen Avatar, so I made her watch it with me. First 3 episodes, technically the first episode, since it's a 2-parter, she was hooked.
Nice.
Mr.
Yes, thank you, Crab.
Mr. Scupper made me watch it, and I actually really enjoyed it. And I also enjoyed watching, and I'm not finished with it yet, Korra.
I've
Which, if
I
you
haven't seen that yet.
Korra, that's a continuation of it, and it's on Amazon Prime. Little plug for Korra,
Yeah, I haven't seen Korra
Nice.
yet, but I've heard issues with some of the storytelling, which it is what it is.
From what I've seen, Korra is a good way to start a fight in your community.
Probably not wrong. We've gone 15 minutes and are still on the news channel on news screen. Should we start reading articles?
Jables isn't.
I'm down.
Any standards to begin with.
Yeah, we have no standards. So let's go ahead and talk about a black hole. I'll take this one.
Sweet.
Fastest growing
You
black hole.
noticed that Rimshee's the one that always takes the black hole articles.
Always does what?
That you're always the one that takes the black hole articles.
Hey, don't mess with my fetish. Fastest.
I wasn't gonna say it, but you're gonna put it out there.
Oh, no one knows my fetish. I don't even know my fetish, so it's all good. Anyway, fastest growing.
No one needs to know.
Fastest growing black hole devours about 1 sun every day. The yawning void, known as J2157, eats stars like ours for breakfast. Perhaps every breakfast. What kind of lame joke is that supposed to be?
I don't know.
Like, I feel bad for Eric Mack for trying to pass that off as a joke.
Yeah.
Anyway.
A few exceptions, scientists should.
Well, I don't think this guy is a scientist. This is just a reporter.
If you
tried to be big-brained about it, it just fell in his face.
If you ask me, Eric Mack looks like he might come to my house and try to kill me later tonight. I'm not trying to say this, but he kind of looks like a bra dildo.
A brildo?
A brildo, yes, that.
All right. The fastest growing black hole known to humans is astonishingly large and apparently very, very Really? You're going to go with hangry?
Obviously, this guy is not attuned to science reporting.
Obviously, he's not attuned to good fucking comedy either.
He's not a writer. It's that simple. Oh, thank you, Mickie. That's awesome. 9 months. Hell yeah.
Nice.
Anyway, back to where I was. Very, very angry.
We should all be very proud.
Mickie Ficky is awesome. That's all I'm gonna say. Very, very hangry. According to new research from an international team of astronomers, the black hole's mass is also about 8,000 times bigger than the black hole in the center of the Milky Way. Christopher
damn.
Christopher Onken of the Australian National University said in a release, to localize it even further, the yawning void. God damn, I'm still not used to having a tongue free of the bottom part of my mouth. So I'm still not used to how it moves. The yawning void, known as J2157, is 34 billion times the mass of our sun and consumes the equivalent of one sun each day. If the Milky Way's black hole wanted to grow that fast, it would have to swallow 2/3 of all the stars in our galaxy, Onken said.
No. It said fat, not fast.
Yeah. If it wants to be a porker, it'd have to eat a lot. We get it.
I'm sorry, I just...
You're fine, man.
Somebody's got to point out the failure.
Yeah. Onken and his team discovered the black hole in 2018 and were astonished by its fast growth rate. How much black holes can swallow depends on how much mass they already have, explained team member Fuyan Bian of European Southern Observatory, ESO. So, for this one to be devouring matter at such a high rate, we thought it could become a new record holder, and now we know. I gotta say, this new scotch is pretty good. I got a cheap $30 scotch, and it's really good for $30.
Yeah, this article is sciencey and boring as fun. Let me talk to you about this cheap scotch.
You know, I've always been a fan of a really good toilet wine. You know, like there's like 3 or 4 good brands. I think one of them is like a prison toilet wine, and that's made by Bubba in the penitentiary. And it's got a good, real grape flavor to it. You know, it tastes like a grape powdered drink with a good finish of shit. Sorry. That joke was purely for my own satisfaction.
And tortured past the point of recognition.
Well, with those, you either gotta just stop sooner, or you just keep going until it's painful and it starts becoming funny again.
Yeah, I brought it to its end. You know, that's what I had to do.
All right. The team used the ESO's Very Large Telescope in Chile to get accurate data on the black hole's mass. Their results appear in monthly notices of the Royal Astronomer Society. Whatever. Fortunately for us, the behemoth of a black hole is billions of light years away, which also means the researchers are seeing it when the universe was very young. How a black hole could grow so massive at such an early period in the history of the universe is one of the more intriguing mysteries the team plans to pursue. In this galaxy, one of the behemoths of the early universe, Onken said, or is this galaxy one of the behemoths of the early universe, Onken said, or did the black hole just swallow up an extraordinary amount of its surroundings? We'll have to keep digging to figure that out. And then it goes on to what is a black hole and whatnot, but that's the entire article. This was short for one of our science articles. We didn't have to stop and say, okay, we're moving on in the middle.
Yeah, normally science articles can be kind of long and drawn out with interesting facts and such, but this one was just kind of like, some guy eating Cheetos at his desk wrote it.
It's like,
I mean, this guy looks like he probably was eating kale, not Cheetos, but yeah.
Just hammers it out real quick. It's like, done.
They only said it had to be like 250 words. What's my word count? 251. I ain't going any further, motherfucker. All right, who wants to take the next one?
I got it if you're interested in me doing it.
Go for it.
I mean,
I'm
just gonna laser out and show her.
surprise what the moon's really made of. All right, so this image, based on data from NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter spacecraft, shows the face of the moon we see from Earth. The more we learn about our nearest neighbor, the more we learn to understand the moon as a dynamic place with useful resources that could one day even support a human presence. Credit NASA, GSFC, Arizona State University. All right. Radar points to moon being more metallic than previously thought. Well, that's good. We can do some mining on the moon.
That's the goal, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and then we can mine coal on the moon. Moon coal.
It burns cleaner because it's from the moon.
Coal requires plant matter.
Remember, always use moon coal because moon coal burns cleaner, runs longer, and will power the universe into the next generation of spacecraft. Or something along those lines. All right.
The next steam-powered space liner.
Steam-powered space
tree. Let's do it.
300 years. All right. Team members, okay, what started out as a hunt for ice lurking in the polar lunar craters turned into an unexpected finding that could help clear some muddy history about the moon's formation. Team members of the Miniature Radio Frequency, MINI-RF, instrument on NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, LRO, spacecraft found new evidence that the moon's subsurface might be richer in metals, like iron and titanium, than the researchers thought. That finding, published in July 1st in Earth Planetary Science Letters, could aid in drawing a clearer connection between Earth and the moon. The LRO mission and its radar instrument continue to surprise us with new insights about the origins and complexity of our nearest neighbor, said Wes Patterson, MINI-RF principal investigator from the Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory, APL, in Laurel, Maryland, and a study co-author. Substantial evidence points to the moon. Was that a run-on sentence, or am I just...
Fuck if I know.
All right. Substantial evidence points to the moon as being a product of a collision between a Mars-sized protoplanet and a young Earth, forming the gravitational collapse of the remaining cloud of debris. Consequently, the moon's bulk chemical composition closely resembles that of Earth. Okay, so something crashed into something and they broke apart, and now we've got a moon. Look in the details at the moon's chemical composition, however, and that story turns murky. For example, in the bright plans of the moon's surface, called the lunar highlands, rocks contain smaller amounts of metal-bearing minerals relative to Earth. That finding might be explained if Earth had fully differentiated into a core mantle crust before the impact, leaving the moon largely metal poor. But turn to the moon's Maria, the large darker plains, and the metal abundance becomes richer than that of many rocks on Earth. This discrepancy has puzzled scientists, leading to numerous questions and hypotheses regarding how much the impacting protoplanet may have contributed to the difference. The MINI-RF team found a curious pattern that could lead to an answer. Using MINI-RF, so microwave, the researchers sought to measure an electrical property within lunar soil piled on crater floors in the moon's northern hemisphere. This electrical property is known as the dielectric constant, a number that compares to the relative abilities of a material and the vacuum of space to transmit electric fields, and could help locate ice lurking in the crater shadows. The team, however, noticed this property increasing with crater size. For craters approximately 1 to 3 miles, 2 to 5 kilometers wide, thank you for putting metric, in there, because metric is much better than our archaic way of inching things out, wide, The dielectric constant of the material steadily increased as the craters grew larger, but for craters 3 to 12 miles, 5 to 20 kilometers wide, the property remained constant. It was a surprising relationship that we had no reason to believe would exist, said Issam Heggie, co-investigator of the mini-RF experiments from the University of Southern California in Los Angeles and lead author of the published paper. Discovery of this pattern opened a door to a new possibility because meteors that form larger craters also dig deeper into the moon's subsurface. The team reasoned that an increasing dielectric constant of the dust in larger craters would be the result of meteors excavating iron and titanium oxides that lie below the surface. Dielectric properties are directly linked to the concentration of these metal minerals. So I'm hypothesizing that they hit these things with microwaves, and the wavelength of the
Are you
of
saying
the
that they cause sparks between the metal fragments?
well, that's what it sounds like, but I don't think that's what actually happens. I think they hit them with basically microwave radar, and that radar bounces back at a different wavelength depending on what the reflection of the metal is doing. So they're seeing more metal now than they were before because they're using a smaller wavelength, which is targeting those smaller and low carbon materials or non-carbonous materials. So where did I leave off? Sorry, I went into a tangent there.
I mean, this is
Okay.
kind of interesting, but it's very dry.
No, it is quite dry, but we're almost done. Let's finish it.
All right.
We're almost there.
Yeah, I see the end. We got it up on screen.
Yeah. Discoveries of this pattern opened a door to a new possibility because meteors that form larger craters okay, I already read that. If their hypothesis were true, it would mean that only the first few hundred meteors of the moon's surface is scant of iron and titanium oxides. But below the surface, there's a steady increase to a rich and unexpected bonanza. Damn, they use the word bonanza. Comparing crater floor radar images from mini-RF with metal oxide maps from the LRO wide-angle camera, Japan's Kaguya mission, and NASA's Lunar Prospector spacecraft, the team found exactly what it had suspected. The larger craters, with their increased dielectric material, were also richer in metals, suggesting that more iron and titanium oxides that had been excavated from the depths of 0.03 to 1 mile or 0.05 to 2 kilometers than from the upper 0.01 to 0.03 miles, 0.02 to 0.05 kilometers of the lunar subsurface. This exciting result from mini-RF shows that after 11 years in operation at the moon, we are still making new discoveries about the ancient history of our nearest neighbor, said Noro Petrov, the LRO project scientist at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland. The mini-RF data is incredibly valuable for telling us about the properties of the lunar subsurface, but we use that data to infer what was happening over 4.5 billion years ago. These results follow evidence from NASA's Gravity Recovery Interior Laboratory (GRAIL) mission that suggests a significant mass of dense material, exists just a few to tens of hundreds of kilometers beneath the moon's enormous south pole. Aitken base, indicating that dense materials aren't uniformly distributed in the moon's subsurface. The team emphasizes the new study can directly answer the outstanding questions about the moon's formation, but it does not reduce uncertainty in the distribution of iron and titanium oxides in the lunar subsurface and provide critical evidence needed to better understand the moon's formation and its connection to Earth. It really raises the question of what this means for our previous formation hypothesis, Heggie said. Anxious to uncover more, the researchers have already started examining crater floors in the moon's southern hemisphere to see if the same trends exist there. All right, that's enough. I'm done.
All right. So, Scooter, do you want to take the next one?
you, Rimshee.
Next one too.
What, you want the next one too, Scott?
No, fuck off. This is
Not
my
even
job.
good.
All right, we're going from dry to just depressing. Coming to us from the BBC. Hundreds of elephants found dead in Botswana. Mystery surrounds the completely unprecedented deaths of hundreds of elephants in Botswana over the last 2 months. Dr. Niall McCann said colleagues in the southern African country had spotted more than 350 elephant carcasses in the Okavango Delta since the start of May. No one knows why the animals are dying, with lab results still weeks away, according to the government. Botswana is home to a third of Africa's declining elephant population. Warning, some people may find the following images upsetting. Dr. McCann of the UK-based charity National Park Rescue told the BBC local conservationists first alerted the government in early May after they undertook a flight over the Delta. They spotted 169 in a 3-hour flight. To be able to see and count that many in a 3-hour flight is extraordinary. A month later, further investigations identified many more carcasses, bringing the total to over 350. This is totally unprecedented in terms of numbers of elephants dying in a single event unrelated to drought. Back in May, Botswana's government ruled out poaching as a reason, noting the tusks had not been removed. According to phys.org, there are other things which point to something other than poaching. The war on elephants, why elephants are seeking refuge in Botswana, the country that brought elephants back from
I think those are supposed to be links to other articles.
I said those are related articles.
Yeah.
It is only elephants that are dying and nothing else, Dr. McCann said. If it was cyanide used by poachers, you would expect to see other deaths. Dr. McCann has also tentatively ruled out natural anthrax poisoning, which killed at least 100 elephants in last year. But they have been unable to rule out either poisoning or disease. The way the animals appear to be dying, many dropping on their faces, sightings of other elephants looking in circles, points to something potentially attacking their neurological systems. So, either way, without knowing the source, it's possible to rule out the possibility of disease crossing into the human population, especially if the cause is in either the water source or the soil. Dr. McCann points to the COVID-19 pandemic, which is believed to have started in animals. Yes, it is a conservation disaster. It also has the potential to be a public health crisis, he says. Dr. Cyril Tallow, acting director for Botswana's Department of Wildlife and National Parks, told The Guardian they had so far confirmed at least 280 elephants had died and were in the process of confirming the rest. However, they did not know what was causing the deaths. We have sent samples off for testing. We are expecting results in the next couple of weeks or so.
Depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no good. Elephants are pretty cool. Like, you really shouldn't mess with, like, an animal that weighs that much, But it sucks that they're just dying, for no reason. Off of, a disease or a possible neurological disorder or something.
Should we move on from depressing to, oh my god, why are these people in existence?
Probably.
Yeah. Let's pop over to this.
I'm sad now.
College students going to COVID parties to see who gets sick first, Alabama officials say. These are stupid people.
I mean, this is just process of elimination at this point.
Oh, I'm not worried about it. If you want to be stupid, go ahead and be stupid. It's America. You have a right to do that.
I feel like the guy at the mask at the COVID party has a T-shirt on that says "Gene Pool Lifeguard" and just walks in and blows his whistle and says "Out of the pool" and then leaves.
All right. Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Yeah, Tuscaloosa. As coronavirus cases around the U.S. continue to rise, authorities in one Alabama county may have identified a possible source for their increase: infected college students. Tuscaloosa Fire Rescue Chief Randy Smith said Tuesday that city officials were able to confirm incidents of students knowingly diagnosed with COVID-19 still choosing to attend parties and gatherings within the city and county. We thought that was kind of a rumor at first, said Smith, who is heading to the city of Tuscaloosa's incident command team in response to the coronavirus. We did some additional research. Not only did the doctor's offices help confirm it, but the state confirmed they also had the same information. Smith did not specify how many students knowingly went to such parties or which universities or schools they attended. Tuscaloosa City Councilor Sonia McKinstry, that's an interesting name,
Yep.
told ABC News that students have been organizing COVID parties at which they intentionally infect each other. They put money in a pot and they try to get COVID. Who gets COVID first gets the pot. It makes no sense, McKinstry told the network. They're intentionally doing it. No, it doesn't make sense, but they're college students. They're fucking dumb. How could you not expect this from college students?
Hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, well, I would expect people that were, maybe aiming towards higher education to be a little bit more along the lines of, not retarded. But I guess that's not the case these days. That just proves that the newer generation of parents have failed to properly train their children as to what is socially acceptable and what is not.
Well, the other part of the
I
issue
mean,
is that
Have you
higher
seen the current
education.
standards for higher education country these days?
Yeah, the
yeah,
other issue is that higher education these days is not higher education. It's what you're expected to do as a human in the United States. Oh, you want to get a job that actually pays well? Go to college. Meanwhile, most college graduates are working at McDonald's or Chipotle, and you got a bunch of people who said "fuck that" and went and joined trades and got paid to learn their shit.
Yeah, I mean that's I don't know if I got paid to learn my trade or if I even have an actual trade other than just being generally awesome.
You're an electrician. Shut up.
No, but I've definitely seen an uptick in the more intelligent people learning trades and moving forward and stuff
Oh
like
yeah.
that. There's people going and getting a degree in what's it called philosophy.
They're going and
You
getting a
you gotta learn
degree in
these
international
days.
basket weaving.
International basketball.
Alright. Where was I? McKinstry told ABC News that officials want to prevent such parties, but the task is challenging because the students are blatantly disregarding guidelines from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. When you're dealing with the mind frame of people who are intentionally doing stuff like that and they're spreading it intentionally, how can you truly fight something that people are constantly trying to promote? In Alabama, 38,442 cases of coronavirus have been confirmed, 10,696 within the past 2 weeks, and 947 patients with the illness have died. Across the United States, more than 2.6 million people are known to have been infected, and more than 128,000 people have died, according to data from Johns Hopkins University. On Wednesday, the number of new cases in a day topped 50,000 nationally for the first time. Actually, you know what? Let's see what that is. 2.6 million. No wait, I'm doing that backwards. 947 divided by 2.6 million. That is a very low percentage, honestly.
Yeah, but there's still.
Oh wait, no, I made a mistake. 128. 128. Insert.
This is why you have to show your work, Rimshee.
It's about 0.5. It's 0.05% death rate. That's not too bad, honestly. But it's more than we want. That's true, but it's not the 2% we thought it was when this stuff started. So at least there's that. It's not as bad as we thought.
Well, it's still taking a risk for the sheer point of just like fuck it, which is what I have objection to.
Yeah. Don't be sorry, Dana. Dina. That word. Fucking tongue.
Actually, my mother, out of all people, just brought up an amazing point. You know, if that gets rid of some of these communist liberal assholes, then
we don't get too political on
right,
here.
No politics.
Yeah.
My bad. Forget.
We try and avoid politics. Whether I agree
Also-
with you or disagree with you, we can talk about that off air.
Yes.
Also,
we do.
is that implying that your mother is typically not full of bringing up good points? What is wrong with you?
That's not implying that at all. That's not implying that at all.
All right.
Your phrasing left something to be said.
She
That's
actually
true.
brought up a good point. I'm shocked. I love your mom. She's fantastic, and I'm not trying to make fun of her. But, I mean, it's all the wording we're used to these days. Oh, that actually is a good point. That implies that I don't usually make good points. It's not what's intended, but it's what's implied.
Indubitably.
And this could lead into politics too. So let's move on.
Let's try politics.
While young adults generally are at a lower risk for complications from severe disease from the virus, public health officials have warned they could be more likely to be spreading the virus unknowingly with no or mild symptoms. Severe complications are also still possible for young people. Young people have also faced sharp scrutiny as videos and photos on social media show groups ignoring social distancing guidelines at pool parties, the beach, or bars. A USA Today analysis published last week found that people under 45 made up to 42% of the cases before Memorial Day weekend, but 55% of cases reported since then. Honestly, they're the ones you'd want to get sick because they're more likely to be able to fight it off.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want people to get sick, but if people are going to get sick, make it the people who are more likely able to fight it off.
The problem is with that is they take up hospital beds and are able to fight it off, while people that aren't able to fight it off can't access those hospital beds.
Yeah, I get that, but it's just one of those things of there's so many different facets to it. It's hard to track everything and be completely knowledgeable.
This is something that's much better discussed in private and not here, because it brings up a whole myriad of issues that I don't want to discuss in the open.
Yeah. Anyway.
I think like the main takeaway is just like look at the state of these current the current setup of the country, like the current setup of the people, whatnot. It's just like pandemics are boring. I'm so fucking bored. I just want to go outside. Which I find fucking ironic because in this current modern day internet age, it's like, you actually went outside before this? Really?
Yeah. People still go outside and they sit down around a table at a restaurant and they text to each other while they're sitting right next to each other.
Oh yeah, the texting people from across the table, that one gets me every time.
Like, it's one thing if it's a private conversation and you're otherwise participating in the overall conversation, but to literally be sitting there with your 3 girlfriends or whatever, and you're all just sitting around the table in a group text, texting each other instead of talking. What the hell? Am I just old, or is that
No.
stupid?
Although, like, I am happy that, like, some people are taking steps. Like, as of July 1st, it is now a ticketable offense to have your cell phone in your hand in my state.
Honestly, I
it's
think
like
I think
it's like
that's fair.
a bare minimum $500 fine if you get
I
spotted.
think the issue is that when you're texting and driving, you are not paying attention to the road. You are explicitly
absolutely.
looking away from the road. I'm a little more dubious about holding up a phone to your head, but at the same time, I can understand that. There's plenty of hands-free ways of communicating these days. Most cars have built-in Bluetooth speakers and mics. You got a lot less
I know.
excuse these days.
You see, my biggest thing is I think it pisses me off that they put all these warning labels on everything. You know, if you were dumber than a rock, you used to cut yourself open with a chainsaw because you didn't realize it was sharp doing something and dangerous, and you died, and you were removed from the gene pool.
Yeah.
Well, Scott, we have to accommodate the idiots. I don't know why, but they keep telling me that this is the case.
Was my question was why?
You're how old are you, sir?
Me?
No. Scooter.
Why did you immediately go back to the other one? Fucking asshole.
How old are you?
I'm 29.
Alright, and Jables is something like 25 right now, so he's the young one.
Jables was only 25?
I think so. He's like 25 or 26.
That doesn't sound right.
I mean, he could be 27. I don't remember offhand. 27.
Okay.
He's 27, so he's like the youngest person here, and he's not here right now. So I think it's just a bunch of old grumpy people bitching about the younger crowd right now.
I think that's what's happening. That's happening.
I will personally admit that I am way too young for someone of my age.
Well, I grew up with crusty old railroaders around me, so like I'm extra crusty.
Yeah. I'm just going to take this next article because it's going to make me mad, and I'm good at that.
Go for it.
Coming to us from Business Insider, which can fuck off because I am not doing anything about their Prime. No. God damn you. It's forcing me to turn my ad block off.
That's so fucking annoying.
Fuck you, Business Insider.
What
No
you
one's
should
reading your
not do.
shit.
What you should not do is look for a program on your browser that allows you to remove overlays from pages, because that would be wrong. And not at all how I get around those whitelist bullshit overlays that pop up over our news articles. Not at all.
Mhm.
I do everything legitimately, because I can afford to.
Yes. Anyway, coming to us from Business Insider. A third of airline pilots in Pakistan have fake licenses, the nation's aviation minister said while citing pilot error for a recent crash. Security personnel stand beside the wreckage of a plane at the site after a Pakistan International Airlines aircraft crashed in a residential area days before in Karachi. Oh my god. More than 30% of civilian commercial pilots in Pakistan have fake licenses and are not fully qualified to fly passenger planes, the country's aviation minister said on Wednesday. The shocking revelation came as part of the investigation into the crash of a Pakistan International Airlines jet in May. PIA Flight 8303 crashed near Jinnah International Airport in Karachi, killing 97 people. The revelation came alongside a preliminary report announcing the result of the crash investigation. Pilot error was cited. The two pilots were chatting about the coronavirus pandemic during sensitive parts of the landing procedure and repeatedly ignored warnings from air traffic controllers.
Coronavirus claims another group.
So these two motherfuckers, these two chuckle fucks, are sitting in the cockpit having a conversation. Meanwhile, the guy at air traffic control is screaming at them, "What the fuck are you doing? Pull up!" And they crash the fucking plane. Jesus Christ. In an address to Pakistan's National Assembly, the aviation minister, Ghulam Sarwar Khan, said that 262 of the 860 active commercial airline pilots in the country did not take the exam themselves. According to CNN, referring to certification tests, the pilots in question had reportedly paid others to sit the exam for them. They don't have flying experience, Khan added. Jesus! Can you imagine if it came out that, like, in America, for example, that there were like 262 airline pilots that never took their fucking test and had absolutely no flight time?
No, forget that. Imagine if we found out there were 12.
Yeah, even that. 262 pilots who never took their test and have never flown an airplane previously? How in the fuck?
Microsoft Flight Simulator. That's all I gotta say.
I hear that's how pilots are getting their hours right now.
Oh Lord.
I'm not serious, by the way.
The 860 pilots flew for Pakistan International Airlines, it's the nation's flagship carrier, as well as low-cost domestic airlines and foreign carriers. PIA grounded all of its pilots with illegitimate licenses, the airline said in a statement. PIA acknowledges that fake licenses is not just a PIA issue, but spread across the entire Pakistani airline industry, airline spokesperson Abdul Khan told CNN. Okay, so here's the real question. How long have they known about this?
Knowing Pakistan, plenty long.
They've probably known since the 1980s.
it was not immediately clear whether the pilots involved in the crash had legitimate pilots. I'm going to hazard that they did it. The pilots were discussing corona throughout the flight. They were not focused. They talked about the coronavirus and how their families were affected, Khan, the aviation minister, said, according to CNN. Khan added that the pilots were instructed several times by air traffic controllers to abort their landing attempt because the plane was too high, but the captain did not pay any heed to these instructions. The pilots proceeded with the attempted landing, but failed to properly lower the landing gear. They failed to lower the landing gear.
What
The
the
aircraft,
fuck?
the aircraft touched the runway surface on its engines, the crash report said, causing sparks and damage. The pilots tried to climb back into the air, but the damaged engines failed, causing the crash.
The fuck? Yeah, there's no way these guys had legitimate pilot's licenses. No fucking
No
way.
in hell. Both
No
Pakistan
fucking
International Airlines and Pakistan's larger airline industry have had a spotty safety record. I fucking wonder why. With several incidents, including another fatal crash within the past decade. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy there. Like that one is above and beyond.
You know what? I will agree with Crab. This article is a great example of why government regulation is required at times.
Not always. I'd say minimally, but there are certain times where it is required.
Yeah, like when we're talking about people's lives.
To some
Jesus,
degree.
man.
Something like this. Yes. Something like, hey, you can't smoke that. I would disagree. Let people make their own mistakes. As long as it only affects them.
Well, hell, I was against like raising the legal smoking age in the United States to 21. I thought it was fucking asinine. You know, like, why the fuck does the government get to make that decision for people?
Yeah,
And
there are certain
like,
things
working
that...
in a convenience store, do you know how many pissed off people came in to my store who could have bought cigarettes the week before that happened that legally couldn't do it anymore the next week?
Oh my goodness.
What was that?
That was an ad on the next article. Sorry, it popped up.
Okay.
Well, speaking of...
that's the audio clip from the next article.
That dude sounded mad.
Oh, he is mad.
Did we move on to that one?
I guess.
Seriously, how the fuck do you not at least put down your landing gear?
Yeah.
Well,
Don't
I'm
book
not
a flight in Pakistan. Just
Don't fly Packy. Pakistan.
do not fly Packy.
Alright, let's move on to the next article. Go for it, Scup.
Man traps poo jogger behind his shop. A poo jogger has been caught on video trapped behind the shop of a man who then forces him to clean it up. A poo jogger. A video camera mounted on a wall outside the back of the shop shows a gray rubbish skip behind the shop and a small gap between it and a brick wall. Posted on What's Happening under the take caught a belter and forced to carry it with him. The video shows the man hide between the skip, which is a dumpster, and the wall. Okay, the poo jogger squats behind the shop, unaware that despite being shielded by the skip or dumpster, a video camera is filming him. Shop owner pushes open the back door and realizes someone is trapped behind it. Looking around the door, he quickly realizes what the man has been doing there. The shop owner yelled at the offender. Pointing and yelling, he tells the man to clean up after himself. All right, those are the pictures, all right, then the back.
So fucking embarrassing.
Well, you shouldn't be stopping a squat in public.
He's so fucking. Hold on. Yeah, he looks so much more.
Like, can I use your bathroom? And that would have solved this problem.
Let me poop in your bathroom, or I'm gonna poop on the street behind your shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, poop on the street behind my shop. I'll beat your ass and make you clean it up anyway. Why are you? That was your first option. It's like, oh man, I gotta poop. Let me just take a shit right behind this dude's store.
Why aren't you just gonna try and go before you fucking jog?
Yeah, go poo before you jog. But I'll tell you what, like, I used to ride one of these vibratory rollers. And when I say roller, I mean like a steamroller. And I'll tell you what, it doesn't matter how many times you poo before you get on that thing. When you get on that thing and you turn on the vibratory function, you'll be like, oh, and 5 minutes later, it's like everything that was up in you is now ready to come out.
I guess that's a cure for constipation. Hey, I gotta go, but it's not coming out. Can I hop on your roller?
Yeah. I'll tell you what, man, Bomag's some serious business. Having a good vibration.
Maybe it helps to poop. So what? Does this guy have like constipation relieved by voyeurism, Mickie? Is that what you're trying to sell me?
Oh god. Scup, continue reading this. Holy fuck.
Right. The back door opens, the shop swings open, a man comes out realizing he has swung the door onto somebody before carrying out.
Crying.
When he sees the man there, he yells at him and tells him to clean up his business, his jobby, his poo. The offender is forced to use his bare hands to clean up the poo and then carry it off with him.
Suck it, motherfucker. You deserve that. Also, I didn't know we were going to end up with twins tonight, man. Fucking Larry Kubiak is on a 9-month sub streak.
Nice, Larry!
Larry, where are you at?
Unfortunately, apparently Larry's the guy who got caught on camera.
Yeah, that was Larry. That's why he's subbing it up.
I mean, there's nothing to say to it.
I got nothing to say to this. Holy fuck. No, I got something to say. Don't poo in public like that. Just use a restroom. Yeah, if you're in the woods, use a shovel and find a secluded area.
Fucking trees if you have to.
Well, I would admit one time I was at a campground and it was like 4 o'clock in the morning and I had been drinking the previous night and I was
this way.
I was walking up to the bathroom, which was like halfway across the campground and up a hill, and like all of a sudden it was just like it was either that or shit in my pants.
That's different.
I feel much more comfortable dropping a squat out in the woods. then
But using a brick wall as your backstop while you're hiding between a building and a dumpster, that's fucked up.
if you're gonna do it out in the open and be proud about it.
Yeah, do it. Go to San Francisco and do it on the street. No one's gonna stop you.
Yeah, no one's gonna stop you there. It's
no one's gonna look at you at that point. They just see right through you. They're so used to.
They'll be like, well, at least he's not using needles.
Yeah.
At least he isn't lobbying for gun rights.
Are we close to our time here, or do we have more time?
What?
I thought it was. I don't know. I'm wondering.
Oh, we still got plenty more time.
Okay, cool. I'm not used to. I don't do this that often, so.
All right, I'm gonna take the next article.
Here, take.
Please do.
And I'll take the one after that.
U.S. leprechauns versus Irish fairies. St. Patrick's Day death match. So
this was a carryover for last week.
This is one that we didn't get to, and it's from back in March. But fuck it, let's talk about this because the title is great. All right. Did you know that leprechauns are more an American St. Patrick's Day tradition than an Irish one? In Ireland, people never talk about leprechauns, so would it surprise you to learn that on St. Patrick's Day, very few Irish people dress up as them either? Usually, it's only visiting tourists who walk around in bright red beards and buckled top hats, shouting, "For the morning!" on March 17th in Dublin. Your complexion may be as pasty as a native, but you won't be fooling anyone. What the fuck? There's a very good reason you'll never catch us all that Darby O'Gill Begob malarkey. It would just be embarrassing overkill. It would be like dressing up as Uncle Sam and walking around with a pair of lit sparklers for a 4th of July barbecue here in the U.S.
I mean,
is that supposed to be a bad thing?
I don't see how you're equivocating.
Yeah, I don't. No, it's something that doesn't make sense because that is something that happens here on the 4th of July.
Yeah, that's fucking America, man.
Can we just segue into something though? Like leprechauns are supposed to be nasty little creatures that like take children and stuff. So maybe there's some kind of thing where it's like, let's not dress up like a leprechaun because they might know. The leprechauns know then we're.
Are you saying it's a conspiracy, Scott?
Yeah, we don't have to worry about the leprechauns. It's all about the lizard people.
I was more worried about the Greys, but
the Greys are working with the lizard people. Yeah. Continuing on. We really don't mind others doing it, but we won't be doing it ourselves, thanks. The things you probably will see in an Irish St. Patrick's Day parade alongside a bearded man in green dressed up as St. Patrick are heroic figures from our Irish myths like Chulainn, or fearsome supernatural creatures from the old tales like the Morrigan, and kids dressed up as woodland fairies. It will be a colorful community-based festival. It will not be an epic pub crawl after a military tattoo.
I'm calling bullshit on this. You people are from Ireland. Your only fucking national tradition is alcohol. Get out of here with that shit.
Every other establishment is a pub. Your pub crawls are literally just, I'm going to get a drink. And by the time you're crawling, it's been a city block because you've just gone around once. And literally every other building is a pub that you're drinking at.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to second that.
Irish folklore and traditions. Bullshit.
And bullshit about the epic pub crawl after a military tattoo. Bullshit. No one goes and gets a military tattoo and then does a pub crawl. It's the
You do
other way
epic-
around. You do the pub crawl and then you get the stupidest military tattoo you can think of.
Yeah, because you need to consume that much copious alcohol to even think if it's a good idea to begin with.
Well, it depends on the military tattoo. I'll show you some that are fucking fantastic.
I got some pretty fantastic tattoos. My in-law actually fixed them.
Nice.
Right.
All right.
Better now.
So leave the green beer, neon shamrocks, and kiss me I'm Irish shirts at home. It drives us nuts. That's nice. Interestingly, one place where you can see the difference between Ireland's approach to St. Patrick's Day versus how America does it is in the standoff between leprechauns and fairies. Some might suggest there's a modern lesson in the face-off, but let's, for now, keep our eyes on the magical creatures, not the marching ones. In the Ireland of long ago, country folk lived in dread of the wee folk, and by wee folk, they meant fairies, never leprechauns. Fairies could bring you good fortune, but more often they could bring tricks or even disaster. From making mischief to out and out terrorizing your community and even stealing away your child, they were to be respected and stayed away from whenever possible. Do they sound like the kind of people you'd want to eat Lucky Charms with? No, they do not.
I mean, who's not up for a bit of child snatching every day? I mean, I'm just saying.
Contrast that with bubbly broth of red-headed boy of American leprechauns. And yes, leprechauns, as we know them, are largely an American creation, a softening of the fearsome Irish fairy. And you'll wonder how the same country produced two distinctly different types. Leprechauns almost want you to steal their pot of gold. When you do, they'll dance a jig and sing your praise for having found it. They're as inspired as their counterparts are insipid as their counterparts are severe. They're much more Madison Avenue than Old Sod. It's been said that sentimentality is the refuge of the ruthless, so perhaps kindly leprechauns are the reflex of a tough nation. By contrast, fairies sound like they belong in the ancient Irish past, to the world of old biddies in long shawls bending by the fire on winter night. That's probably why they live in such different worlds still. But fairies are something else too. They're creatures who are halfway to becoming ghosts, and old Ireland knows all about hauntings. The Irish are different from Americans in one very key way. For them, drinking is a religion. Now, for them, the future does not necessarily imply hope or aspirations. So their haunted past finds expression in those little ghostly figures who have lived in the woods and the bottom of the garden. That reminds you.
Future is no wonder they.
Yeah. In the bottom of the garden,
pessimists.
Fucking pessimists. Who live in the woods in the bottom of the garden that remind you that fate is fickle and, often enough, it is cruel. There's nothing reassuring about Irish fairies at all. So this St. Patrick's Day, pick your magical companions carefully and remember, there's something to be said for both of them, and what it says largely depends on where you're from. That's nice.
Fuck it, man. I'm gonna hang out with the leprechauns. At least they're not depressing.
I don't know. If the fairy looks like that, I'd probably hang out with her.
I mean, fair enough.
I'm telling Miss Rimshee.
Good question, Larry. We don't know.
Hey,
This honestly
gentlemen.
sounds like some culture war crap.
Kind of.
Like it sounds like culture war with a hint of reality.
Hey, folks, I got 3 hungry people here that are all staring.
Go for it. We've
Yep,
only
are
got
you
like
good?
10 minutes left, so we'll pull
You
Mickie
can
in.
handle it.
I did my best to help out and be the cool guy that I am, but I've never really been cool and or a guy. So
That is where you
What?
fucking fail us.
sorry. I'm sorry, but I must go.
Fuck out of here. Got my sight. You disgust me.
All right, bye.
Bye. Hi, Mickie.
Hi,
Hey, we got a Mickie.
we got a Mickie. Yeah, I just wanted to jump on the show because you guys are much nicer to me than Nick and his guests.
Oh.
Yes.
That's a thing. Yeah. I don't know what to say to that. So instead, let's continue on. Do you want to?
Discourse do not endorse the opinions of Mickie.
Do you want to just hop over to a Florida Man article?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, if either one of you want to read it or you want me to read it, just tell me where to go to read it.
All right. Scooter, you want to read this one, or should we have Mickie read it?
I could do it.
Go for it, Scoot.
Yes. We love your lovely voice, sir.
Which these are both really.
The yacht.
All right. Coming to us from Fox News, Florida man allegedly stole, crashed, and abandoned a $1 million yacht. There's likely a stern punishment in store for this alleged criminal. A Florida man reportedly stole, crashed, and then abandoned a yacht worth almost $1 million in March, evading police for 3 months, being arrested last week. The nautical no-gooder, who the fuck wrote that? Who wrote this article?
I don't know. Let's find out. It's at the bottom.
It's at the bottom.
I think so.
Oh, he's a pleasant looking fella. Love the greasy bob cut on his head.
Yeah, it's not saying who wrote this.
Cowards! 28-year-old Donovan Russell Jester, that's his name, stole the
He's
boat
a
from
winner.
a dock in St. Petersburg, Florida, then left it after crashing it into channel marker pilings, according to the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. The boat then drifted into a nearby oyster bed where it was discovered by local deputies. They were able to identify Jester by a thumbprint left on the cabin door. He was charged with grand theft vessel from the joyride and faced up to 30 years in prison. Grand theft vessel? I did not know that was a charge.
It's GTV, motherfucker!
I mean, that's what Grand Theft Auto 5 just dropped the name out of the title. Maybe that should be their next game.
Let's have Grand Theft Auto, Grand Theft Vessel.
Mm-hmm.
Waterworld 2020. TV.
The stolen yacht was identified by a 46-foot Jano leader worth $900,000. On its website, Jano markets the luxury vessel with provocative terms. Ooh, woo. Describing her sinuous profile and sporty look, we are still talking about a boat here, right?
I would assume so.
Genoa's website says the boat's interior will seduce you with her contemporary spirit. It has 2 large cabins, including an owner's suite that can fit a king-size bed. Oh,
That's
where
why
the
you stole
article
it.
ends. It just ends on that note. It's like, yeah, by the way, the people who make this boat have a somewhat creepy description for it all. Cheap 80s porn music, not included.
Yeah.
But it does need a water bed for me to be interested. I would want a nice 80s style water bed. Yeah.
For the classy whores.
Yeah, I had a water bed when I was a teenager. My mom bought it for me. She decorated my room for Christmas, and oh, it was a lovely bedroom. I was quite happy with it.
Water beds are weird.
Yeah, they're a little weird.
Like, yeah, I don't know what to think. They're just fucking weird.
Mm-hmm.
We always in fear of them breaking, waking up in a pool of water, and yeah, they're a little odd.
My sister and I lived in an apartment at the time, and we had, at the same time in the same room, bunk beds and a water bed.
Oh.
So we would just dive off the top bunk.
Oh shit.
We were terrible children.
That's funny. Yeah, my mom. When I moved in with my mom. My grandmother raised me. I moved in with mom at 15. She went in my room one day and looked at all my cassette tapes and decided, this is revealing my age, of course. She's like, "Oh, your favorite bands are Bon Jovi and Guns N' Roses." So, oh yeah, I was a bad kid for sure.
I don't know if we can be friends after.
I mean, I'll keep throwing money at you to make up for the gross misconduct of what is sure to be your.
It's like I actually get paid for this shit.
Well, let's go ahead and read another Florida Man article. I'm gonna go ahead and read it.
Okay.
Florida man in stolen ambulance leads law enforcement on multi-county chase, officials say. Report: man asked EMT for a ride before stealing ambulance. A Florida man is behind bars after the
work bench smoking Santa Claus.
A Florida man is behind bars after Flagler County Sheriff's Office said he stole an ambulance that was idling outside a hospital and led law enforcement on a multi-county chase.
Because this is what you do.
It is what it is. Alright, the Daytona Beach Police Department received a call just after 2:30 a.m. Tuesday in reference to a stolen vehicle at Advent Health located at 301 Memorial Medical Parkway. An EMT at the hospital told police she and her other crew members were inside the hospital working on a patient when a man entered the ambulance that was sitting empty outside, a report showed. She told officers that the front door of the ambulance front doors were locked, but the back door was still left open or unlocked as they were wheeled a patient into the hospital. God damn! How the fuck did I fuck that sentence up so much?
I'm honestly not surprised.
Oh, fuck you. Another crew member told police that prior to the theft, a man later identified as Keith Peacock asked him for a ride in the ambulance, but told him no because they were in the middle of treating a patient. a patient, according to a report. I'm not used to this new tongue, man.
So what? This guy, it's like, hey man, can I bum a ride? And it's just like, nah, man, we can't give you a ride. It's just like, fuck you then, I'll be taking it.
That's what it looks like. Another, both the Volusia and Flagler County Sheriff's offices were notified of the theft as Peacock headed westbound on State Road 40, just past Hunter's Ridge. Flagler deputies were eventually able to catch up with the ambulance, which was traveling at a high rate of speed along State Road 11 in Bunnell, where they pulled Peacock over as a felony traffic stop. Volusia deputies were also involved in the pursuit, which they captured on video with dashboard cams. That video can be viewed below, but VCSO has recommended viewer discretion in viewing the video due to strong language. Overnight, deputies responded to a report of a Volusia County ambulance that was stolen from Advent Health, Daytona Beach. With Central Communications able to track the ambulance and give updates on its location, Deputy Cowger spotted it traveling at high speed on SR11 in Bunnell, where he conducted a traffic stop and took the driver into custody, VCSO officials wrote on a Facebook post. Peacock was eventually secured into handcuffs and taken to the Flagler County Jail, where he is facing charges of grand theft of a motor vehicle. Peacock is being held on $2,500 bail.
His name is Peacock?
Yeah, his last name is Peacock.
Ooh.
What's his full name again? Where is this? I'm not seeing where his full name is.
I wonder if he paid to change his last
Peacock.
name. Peacock. I wonder if he paid to change his last name to Peacock. That would be freaking justice right there. Like, he's such a big force of life. He has to introduce himself as I'm Keith Peacock. Yeah, or something. By the way, to win Sir's favor again, I may have listened to shitty bands in school, but I was never this stupid. Promise you.
All right.
You like whatever. I just have a personal grudge
Against who?
Axl Rose.
Oh God, yes, he's a fucking piece of shit. I get it. It just, I was a rebellious kid. I did everything everybody else told me not to do. So.
God, fucking dude.
All right.
Massive
Well,
douche.
At this point now, a Guns N' Roses song of any kind is not the fastest way to really rip the knob off of my radio in the car.
Anyway,
Especially
well,
November
we're gonna go ahead and start rating. This has been the Lesser Saints of Discord, your one and only pre-show to the Late Night Saints. We love you. Have a good weekend. Enjoy your 4th of July, and we'll be rating here in just a second.
Yay! Guns N' Roses.
Bye, everyone.